Hey Grace, I wanted to leave you some feedback on essay two. As a whole, I really enjoyed reading your essay. I liked reading about your thoughts on education, and I really enjoyed reading about the things that you think have contributed to your development as a person. Um, uh, Both in and outside of the classroom. I think your strongest sections are where you're talking about what it's like to be a server and how you really see that that's a valuable experience. And I think I relate to this on two levels. Number one, I was once there myself. Um, when I was in school, I supported myself through service and also through bartending. So I've been there, but I also think that your writing here is very clear and very concrete. Um, and I think that even if people haven't had this specific experience that you have, um, they're going to be able to relate to what you're talking about. What else is working really well? I really like your connection to grades here and the amount of stress that places on students, and how you connected that to Partnam, and then your comments on testing anxiety as well. And maybe one of the things that Partnam really doesn't touch on in her essay, but another downside of this continued, you know, I don't know, continued work towards excellence as opposed to education. Let's talk about a couple things here and there for revision. So one of the things that I really want you to think about is paragraphing. So this was a pretty meaty paragraph, and you changed directions quite a bit. So I think that this paragraph would actually be better suited, broken down into maybe two or three shorter paragraphs. So I'd like you to go back and look through this again and think about where you're changing directions slightly, and where this paragraph might be better suited if you broke it down. By the way, I love your quote from Mark Twain. This is a great this is a great quote. And you're a little shy on the page length, so it might be nice to go back to this quote in your conclusion and expand on that. Since I'm looking right here, these are some lower order concerns. Don't forget to include your header right here, and make sure that you capitalize this and get rid of your comma. Um, I think that this paragraph is working really well. This transition right here is a little clunky. So I want you to think about how you could rewrite this transition right here to be clearer. It's just a little clunky, and I had to read it twice to understand what you're saying. Also, you want to make sure that you edit for commas in this essay too. So, for example, anytime you begin a sentence with while, you will have a comma in that sentence. And so basically, when sentences begin with while, what you're doing is creating a dependent clause. And dependent clauses are always set off with a comma from the independent clause. So technically, your comma would go here after college. This is your dependent clause. Oops. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Grace, I'm back. I was trying desperately to figure out how I get rid of these red lines in your essay, and I've been playing around with the tools, and here I cannot figure it out. So please ignore these. These lines mean absolutely nothing. I am deeply sorry that I did that, and I don't think it will be reflected on the document that you have uploaded. I don't think those lines will remain there, but I'm going to try to figure out how I erase those. I currently can't get them off. But the point that I was trying to make is that if you begin a sentence with while, know that you will always have a comma in it somewhere. However, I want you to think about how you can transition more formally here, because this was a little clunky. Here's another place where I got really excited, but I feel like the idea was a little bit underdeveloped. Because one of the things that you seem to be suggesting here is that education is also about socialization and character, right? So note that what you define as a quote unquote better person or a good person might be a little bit different from how I define it. So I really wanted to know like what you really meant here, right? So the way that you were so concrete in this lovely paragraph that I have done something awful to, please forgive me. I kind of wanted to see the same thing in in this section. Um, yeah, and then this paragraph is good too, but I want you to think about how you could break this up into shorter paragraphs, right? So I kind of think that you begin pivoting. You're talking about the general thing or the general topic about grades and testing, but it feels like this paragraph could be broken up into shorter paragraphs as well. So if you want to go back and revise, I'd like you to look at this section too. So I mentioned that your paper is a little shy on the required length. So how to expand? I love the place that you where you end us. So I think that my question, especially related to synthesis, is okay. Well, how would we get there, right? So if we started to focus on grades, or so if we started to focus less on grades and more about the individual self, how could we do that, right? And so are you essentially asking that we rethink and we overhaul the entire system, or are you suggesting that you've found a way to manage this on your own, right? Because you've kind of found solace at the workplace or through your struggles, right? Are you asking that individuals kind of navigate this themselves? And that's kind of what Gatto argues too. So I'd like to see you attempt some kind of synthesis, because that will help you expand, and it will also help you meet one of the requirements for the course. You're also missing your works cited page, so don't forget to include that as well. But as I said before, as a whole, I really like this essay. I just think a little bit of tweaking and some revision, and it'll get there. All right. Let me know if you have questions. Thanks.